So today's call is going to be on a contemplation pointer. And we have already talked about what a contemplation pointer is before. And that is a sentence which we just assume to be true. And we are going to explore the deeper meanings which uh, these sentences carry. And we are going to contemplate on this and discuss on the same. Now, a little bit about how these calls happen. So these calls are going to be open conversations, open discussions. They are going to be interactive. So all of you are invited to participate, maybe ask your questions, share your experiences, or whatever you feel, whatever you want to add to the conversation. You all are free to do so. You can either raise your hand or you can just unmute yourself and start talking. So that's how these conversations flow. Today's contemplation pointer was that love is a one-way street, relationships are not. So we will start with you guys before we start sharing our experiences. So any of you, what you could understand, what you can get, what you could get from this one contemplation pointer, you can just raise your hand and you can start talking. Yes, Nikki, please go ahead.
I wanted to say this, to your thought. You rightly said, love is a one-way street and relationship is a two-way street. But sometimes, if you are long enough into a relationship, and let's say if things go sour, um, then both the parties in the relationship are just waiting for the other person to make a move, um, to start making things better, and it almost then start to feel like that even relationships are maybe one way, or um, at least not two way. Yeah, that's the thought that came to my mind.
Right, right. Yeah, yeah. Cool. Let's hear from somebody else as well. Anybody else wants to add something about the pointer or maybe what Nikki said? Hmm. So nobody has anything to talk about this? Yes, Nikki, please.
Uh, Yes, Anamika, what I wanted to add was that whenever the term relationship comes up, it means that there will be at least two people involved in a relationship. So relationship has to be a two-way path or a street, because uh, for a relationship to continue, both the people have to make the effort. Both the people uh, should want to show up in the relationship. Then only the relationship would stay, or then only it would thrive. If suppose only one person is doing the work, or only one person is trying to uh, trying to do things according to the other person, thinking that कि चल जाएगा, and this is how I can take forward the relationship, that is not going to work. Because I'm telling this from my own experience. I have done this for the longest time, thinking कि uh, just if only I could do things the other way around, or according to the other person. If only I could do things to make life easier for the other person, uh, my relationship would work. But eventually it made me feel so tired that I decided to, like put a stop to whatever I was doing and yeah, move out from the relationship or opt out from the relationship. So yeah, any relationship has to be a two-way street. This is what I wanted to add.
Right.
Thanks. Kruti, I also want to know that how would you interpret these two statements together? That love is one way, but relationship is two ways. So we want to interpret these two together, not look at these in isolation. We've
Okay.
spoken about relationship. What
Ah,
about the first love?
mm, okay. Okay. So from what I could understand from the group today itself, love, if when we're talking about love, then we should not consider it as a transactional way of giving. So if we are loving someone, then we are loving someone because we want to, and not because we want something in return. But I haven't been able to do this as of now. So I don't know. I can't connect these two as of now.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Tina, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, good evening, everyone. So I think for me, love, a real relationship cannot be without a love. So when I say a relationship has to have love, it means to me is that uh, the partner that I'll have and the love that I'll have for him will be greater and very much higher than my ego. And so if I even have fights, even if I have any conflicts, my love for him will not change. And my emotional bonding will be very strong. So if any fights are happening or something is happening, it won't be like surviving only on just a relationship, because I'm coming out of love. And for me, it is like I won't feel jealous, or I won't feel, means there will be freedom of two individuals coming together and respecting each other's personal space. And you know, when we are fighting, then there is no third person. When we are loving, then there is no third person. And for me, a real relationship is like a like kind of a treasure for each other. So even if I'm like having so much of conflicts, maybe difference of opinion, perspectives, but that doesn't change my care and love and support for the person that I've fallen in love in first place. Because for me, it's not a business deal that today I love somebody and tomorrow somebody else. To me, a real relationship is where both the partners are there with each other without any conflicts and egos. And they fight also, but when they love, because the relationship has the base of the love, they just forget everything when they come together.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. But then, as Akarma said that, taking these two sentences together, that love is a one-way street and relationship is not, then would you like to add something to it, seeing them together?
So like I said that when I'm getting into love, oh sorry, in a relationship, because I love the person, and because the relationships are not transaction, love is one-way street. So if that's what I'm trying to say, that even if I have not even if my so-called expectations or whatever I was thinking from a relationship are not how should I put it in example? So let me just let me just give a thought about it, and maybe I can tell in the later discussion. Thank you.
Yes.
Sure. I'll,
Thanks.
I'll hand it up. I'll go ahead, please. While you are on mute, you have to unmute yourself and talk
Sorry.
in case if you're
Um, yeah, I feel that love is a very strong emotion and it is the basis of everything and it is independent of any relationship. A relationship requires give and take, but in love, it is not necessarily that there will be some give and take of emotions or anything else. And then I feel that love is not planned. You don't like when you get into a relationship, it is a conscious decision. But when you fall in love, it is not planned. You just fall in love.
Right.
That's what I feel.
Thanks for sharing, Pai. So, listening to all of these, um, experiences, one thing is coming in my mind, and do you all are pointing towards? Just a moment. There's a lot of noise here. Yes. So, are you all pointing towards that love can still be there if when we get into the relationship or we get out of the relationship? So can it be there unconditionally? Yes. One go ahead, guys. One by one. Seema.
So if it now to me, with my experience, I can say, so supposing it did not went well because of some say mismatch, or maybe the perspectives were not matching. I was angry for a time being, and there is a lot of space, and we haven't returned back. But still, um, the love that I have for him is still there, and it doesn't need any validations or like him being there, the other person. So my love is not changing, it's there. So to me it just comes this to me right now, in my mind is coming this only, because yes, the things didn't work out or whatever, still it's not like a transactional. I understand relationship does need two people. That's why we all are coming out of the bad marriages, because it didn't have two people. And love is something that I can have it for anybody, and it doesn't need the other person. But definitely relationships are not working well because it requires two people.
Right. Right. Thank you, Seema. Payal, did
so
you also? Yes, please, Akarma.
can we, listening to what Seema said, can we then phrase this as love is something like a devotion?
Yeah, so if I bring in God as an example, so
No,
we
not God. We are not talking. No, we won't go there. We
have,
will stick to human beings.
your Akarma, your voice is little not so clear to me
And
today. I don't
I'm
know.
saying that we will not go in terms of God and all that. We will stick to human concept.
Okay, okay.
So can I still use the word devotion or not?
Um, See, if I'm loving somebody, what is the devotion? It's an emotion, right? My love is also kind of an emotion and a feeling that I'm holding for a person, but it doesn't need any validation from the other person. I mean, I just love him. Whether we are apart, we are like not in terms of being together, but I have some love for him. And do you think that it needs a devotion?
I'm asking. I'm just putting it out. I'm asking that can it be called devotion or not?
I don't think so, because a part of me just loves him.
What about others? Somebody else? Yes. Yes, Sachin, go ahead. Unmute yourself and talk.
Hi, I'm Sachin. I raised hand.
Yes,
Yes,
go ahead.
Sachin.
You wanted to say something?
Yeah. See, my opinion might differ from all the opinions or views what I've heard just now. It's totally coming out of my own experience in life. I would say in a practical life. Uh, just for the sake of saying love can be or love is a one-way street, it seems so good. But if you talk about practical life, I think it's two-way street. Because if you are loving someone, obviously we all are human beings and we want something in return. Now, it is not necessarily that it's going to be a transaction, but of course, yes, every human being is a selfish guy. Why? Suppose you say, I love charity because it gives me a lot of satisfaction. You are doing charity, in return you what you are getting, that's satisfaction you're getting. So when you love someone, in return, you also expect something. If in case you're not getting something in return, which is like love again back from that person, till how long you will continue loving that person? It's like you're trying to move a wall, which is not possible actually. So when you talk about the relationships, relationships are always two-sided. It can never be on autonomous mode. You need to put your effort from both the sides. It cannot be like 50-50, it will make 100. No, there has to be 100% effort from both the partners. And when you talk about the relationships, so there are basically five core ingredients of any relationship on this planet: trust, love, care, respect, and understanding. Nothing beyond that. On top of it, it's only if you have to talk about which is the basic factor or the topmost amongst these five. So that's trust. If trust is not there, it has a very deep meaning. If the trust is not there, so rest of the four factors has no meaning. So there is only one relationship on this planet which starts with love. Apart from this, each and every relationship starts with trust only first. So that relationship is a relationship of a parent and a child. So when the baby is born, the mother loves like anything. Father loves him or her like anything. The moment, the later on in the life, when he or she grows up, the baby grows up, the trust first comes into the picture. For example, if I cannot trust my boy, then love might take a some backseat. Of course, I will love him, but मेरा trust नहीं है उसके ऊपर. So that relationship में थोड़ा सा कड़वाहट आएगा, but it doesn't mean that I'll stop loving my son. No, but trust comes first. Same goes into any relationship also. So till what time you will keep on loving a person when you're not getting anything in return? We all are human beings. We want something in return. That's what my views are.
Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for sharing, Sachin. As you said, that as human beings, it's just kind of next to impossible to give without expecting anything. So even if in material terms people say that I don't expect anything from you, like you gave an example of the charity, people say that I did charity, and they say that I just did it because I didn't expect anything. But still, even if nothing quantifiable was there, still there was something we got out of it. It's just intangible in nature, and we end up saying that I didn't expect anything. So if we include the intangible, it's always like give and take. So there's no such thing as removing the conditions completely. And having this clarity it's beautiful. So now going forward, just taking into consideration what you added to this conversation. So again, coming back that love is a one-way street, and relationships are not. So relationships are a two-way street, and it's not possible for us to not be in relationship with anything. So even if it is tangible, intangible, people, humans, trees or animals or something sentient or non-sentient, whether we see it or not, we are in relationship with it, right? And then yet, when we say that love is a one-way street, then can we see that love is not just an emotion? So this is a question from my side, guys, that is love an emotion, and is love just the romantic form of love, or love is just something we describe as, okay, this is love, and when I have these feelings in me, the adrenaline in me, or these kind of things which we call love. So is that the definition of love, or maybe there's something more to it?
Well, I would like to add or like to answer in my way. Love is an emotion, but it has to be returned in the same form also.
Mm-hmm.
It cannot be ever like one-sided affair. Gone are the days when people used to say, I fall in love with you when I saw you for the very first time. Love at first sight. That's fine. Suppose you fall in love with the person after seeing that person for the very first time, and in case you got married. What will happen after 5 years when you are just keep on pouring, and you're not getting love in return? What is the value? What is the sanctity of saying that was a love at first sight? Are you being getting in return for the same stuff the way you are putting in efforts when it comes to loving your partner? Yes, love is an emotion, but it has to be backed up. It has to be returned in the same form also. Only then you can call it we both are in true love. Otherwise, one-sided love can be only one. As I said, it can be parents' love, or other it can be, you are loving God. That's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So in that case, what you are saying is that we are capable of doing it, right? It is possible. We choose not to do it. When you become a parent, you are capable of loving your child that way. And if you choose to love God that way, you can do it that way. So for other people, we choose not to do it that way. It is a choice. It is not something that is
It's
helplessness.
not about, okay. You talk about anything on this planet, there are always exceptions to it. So God and parental love, I would say, are the exceptions to it.
I understand your point. I got that. And I'm saying that even if there are exceptions, I'm saying it is still possible, right? Yes, no. Sachin, I can't hear you.
Hello, your voice is not clear, Makarna.
Okay, I'm saying that. Am I clear now?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that even if it is exception, let's avoid the word exception for a minute
Okay.
and go with the possibility that it is possible. Even if
Okay.
it's
If
exception, it's possible
in case
because we
of
are capable of
exception,
doing it.
yeah, one is capable of doing it. If you are keeping exception aside, then it is not possible. But if you are including
No, no,
exception, yes, that's possible.
I'm not keeping exception aside. I'm saying let's keep the word exception aside for a minute.
Yeah, then there's a
So,
possibility. Yes.
so I'm saying that if we not use the word exception, then
Yeah.
we are capable of doing it. So you
Yes.
are saying parent love. So the day you became a parent, you were able to do it,
Yes. Agree.
right?
Yeah.
So the capability is there inside it.
Yes.
So that's what I'm saying. Okay. Now coming to the core of this discussion. So I wanted to bring it to the core of this discussion. That here we are discussing the contemplation concept. And as we shared before, that a contemplation pointer is something which we try to see not from our experience and what we already know. Because what we already know, we will keep defending it. So the idea is to put our experience and our knowledge aside for a minute and experiment that is this possible? And if this is possible, if I can do this in one area, then what is stopping me from doing it in other area? If I'm capable of showing love this way to my child, then why am I not capable of showing it this way to my wife, husband, or other people around me? So The question is that he's going towards it, that what is stopping me? Why I am able to do it in one area and not able to do it in the other area?
Can I speak?
Yes, go ahead.
So I feel like Sachin has given a very good example. So if we say love is one-way journey and relationships are transactional, so I think because we don't demand any transactions from our kids when they are born, and forever we are parents for them, and we give them unconditional love. We are not expecting anything back. But there are times when we also get into a transactional mode that I have done this for you, so you have not done this. Those are just faulty expectations because uh, to me, then it becomes a transactional relationship. Even in the husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, it becomes transactional when you do things just when the other and you keep a calculation of it. कि मैंने तेरे लिए ये करा, I've done this for you, and what I'm investing in rather than what I'm giving. So for me, love is a one-way journey because I don't need to have any transactions for it. I love somebody, and that's my feeling. And yes, whether that person is giving me anything or not, it will remain the same because I am not in a relationship with him. And if I'm going in a relationship, and if I want to have an unconditional love around a bond, it cannot be based on a transaction because it's not a business deal. It's a relationship. So it becomes transactional because we are expecting the person to behave in a particular way. Or maybe, okay, मैंने इतना दिया तो इसको इतना ही देना चाहिए. अगर मैंने ये किया, मतलब it's like a transaction, right? That I'm giving this. It's like debit, credit, debit, credit. I don't know if I'm making any sense, but this is what I feel.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's
Right.
okay. This is a conversation in the flow. So none of us have any script written. We are only saying whatever is coming to our mind. So that's okay. You say whatever you have to say. If it makes sense or doesn't make sense, doesn't matter. So don't worry about whether we are getting it or not. You just explain.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, Sina. Let's hear more. Let's hear more. What other people? There are so many people, almost 20 people on the call. So people have joined this because they must have resonated with this topic some way. So guys, let's talk. Let's just express whatever you want to. Um, the idea is to explore this on the call. So we are exploring this on the call. We are not asking anyone to go and do it. We are not saying that. We are not saying अभी ये करना ही पड़ेगा. You are now obliged. No. We are only discussing. We are only saying ये हो सकता है क्या? Is it possible? क्या हम ट्राई कर सकते हैं? क्या ये एक्सपेरिमेंट किया जा सकता है? अगर हम एक एरिया में कर सकते हैं, अगर हमें वो कैपेबिलिटी है, if we can show that love to a stone statue, तो ह्यूमन बीइंग्स के साथ प्रॉब्लम तो आ रही है हमको फिर.
Yes, fine.
Yes,
Go ahead.
so,
You'll have to unmute yourself.
Our egos stop us from loving somebody. That okay, so I love this person, but
हाँ, आप आपने ऐसे बोला कि जैसे आप स्टेटमेंट बोल रहे हो या क्वेश्चन. लाइक इज
nahi,
दैट
it's
आप
a
दिखा रहे हो या
statement
पूछ
only.
रहे हो? हाँ,
So
go ahead.
maybe I think our egos and our stop us from loving somebody or showing our love, because then I feel that person will become dominant, or he will have more, or he or she will have more power over me, because love does make you vulnerable. So maybe.
It does. It does. That is very good point. Exactly. The love and vulnerability go hand in hand. Definitely. Definitely. To express that side, there is always a fear of rejection. Yeah, what? How is the other person? So again, that vulnerability, that fear of rejection, या वो क्या बोलेंगे, once again the thoughts are still around transaction only. ताकि हमें एक certain expectation है एक certain outcome की. तो हम मूर्ति के सामने जाके अपना लव एक्सप्रेस कर देते हैं कि हमें पता है मूर्ति तो बात करने वाली नहीं है, तो वहां तो सब बढ़िया है, एंड वी जस्ट कॉल इट कि गॉड इज ऑलवेज एक्सेप्टिंग, गॉड इज ऑलवेज डूइंग दिस. बट आपकी कब इंटरेक्शन हुई है गॉड से? हाउ डू यू नो?
Actually, I think first we need to have that self-love.
या गो हेड. अच्छा हाँ सॉरी, मेरे को लगा सीना और ओके सही था.
So
हाँ
I think
पायल
first we
एक्सप्लेन
need
मोर.
to have that self-love. Once
Mhm.
we have that self-love, then mm, loving somebody unconditionally or without conditions is possible. You need to love yourself first.
Self love की definition में, the definition of self itself is different and subjective for different people. It has many layers and many levels. Same goes with the definition of love, that the definition of love is different for like people from different angles, from different layers, right? So, yes, I mean, we'll get into that discussion someday, certainly. And what you're saying makes sense. But how do you connect that self-love wala thing to, this thing? That love is a one-way street.
That's the thing. Let's keep the statement in mind and let's move with the statement. ऐसे स्टेटमेंट को छोड़ना नहीं है अब, क्योंकि हम ऐसे तो कुछ भी बातें करते रहेंगे, बहुत ज्ञानबाजी वाली बातें लगेंगी फिर. तो तो इसको साथ लेके चलना है. तो अब ये आपने सेल्फ लव का पॉइंट डाला है, तो ये कहाँ कनेक्ट होता है, ये जो स्टेटमेंट है इसमें कहाँ कनेक्ट होता है? तो एक्सप्लेन
See,
दैट
when,
ऑल्सो ना.
okay, right. So when we are sure about ourselves or when we are confident about our love and when we leave that inhibition that I will be judged or the other person will have power over me. When we are
Hmm.
confident about ourselves, so when then we are capable of loving somebody. We will not want something back from that person. We will not want something in return.
Yes, well, I really appreciate you said that, Payal. Do you mean to say that when you reach that stage where you're just, able to love yourself, you're able to love others? So love is there. It is kind of intact. Love is not that I love you for this and I love you. It's not even I love you as a person, and if you do this then I will love you, and not because if you will give this to me then I will love you. Love
Yeah,
is
right.
intact, and then it is
Right.
not coming from the space that I will give this to you and you will give this to me,
Yeah,
like
love
that.
is just
And
there.
even, yes, and even it also does not come from the space of fear कि if agar मैंने ऐसा बोला तो what the other person will think, the fears, that all the fears that we have inside us कि अगर मुझे return नहीं मिला तो what if I lose this, what if I don't get it back, what if this and that, and also the fear that what if I ask this person and I don't get it, then I'm going to feel abandoned and rejected. Love to hai, it is just intact in itself.
Right.
So is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah. Because that is what I experienced and what I wrote also in the group. That okay, today also I can look at him in the eye and say that yes, I love you, and I'm not ashamed of it. I am not boasting about it. It is there.
Yeah. Thanks, Payal. I guess Tina raised her hand long back. Tina, anything you want to say? Please unmute yourself.
Tina, then Sachin, then Vidya.
Speak actually.
Yes, Tina.
Hello. Ma'am, relationships are two-way because you get emotionally drained after a point of time. Giving love, giving love. And when you don't get it back, then you are emotionally drained.
Right, right. So only if giving is
So,
happening. Yeah. So
uh,
most people feel resentful.
I wouldn't, no, I wouldn't even agree that you as a parent give unconditionally to your children as well. Because at a point, after a point of time, you expect your children also to listen to you, to respect you. It's not unconditional.
Right, right. And even when it
So,
feels like it's unconditional when children are maybe born,
yeah,
am
when
I
they are
audible?
born, then it is like, yeah, you are audible to me.
Yes. Yes. Even when we feel that
When
they
they are
are,
born,
that is unconditional. Yeah.
ma'am, unconditional love happens, but it happens at first. Then it's a human tendency to expect it back.
No, I was
With
saying that
children
even if
also,
we
with
feel
your,
that that love is
uh,
unconditional. Yes.
yeah, that love is unconditional. And love at, like, even if you're
Yes.
loving your partner, it's unconditional at first. When you start loving someone, or children, anybody for that matter, it's a human tendency to be unconditional at first. But then, over a period of time, it becomes conditional because it's emotionally actually draining to be giving.
Right. But as the sentence says that relationships are a two-way street, that also implies that it is never, relationships are never unconditional. Be it with your children,
No,
be it
never.
with your parents, be it with anybody in this world,
No.
sentient, non sentient, it's never unconditional.
Yeah.
Yes,
Never
that is what
unconditional.
the
We
sentence
human beings.
implies, right?
So
Yes.
this is the
Yes.
reason. Sorry, this is the reason this sentence, this contemplation pointer is a little bit complex. And I feel that most
Yeah.
people are looking at this contemplation pointer in a very simplistic way. See, the contemplation pointer is much more complex than anybody is interpreting it. तो थोड़ा
Yes.
ध्यान दो इस चीज पे ध्यान दो कि व्हाट वी आर सेइंग इज कि रिलेशनशिप इज टू वे स्ट्रीट मतलब expectations will be there, but we are
Yes.
saying that love is one way. Now, how do we bring this together? That is the whole point. क्योंकि हम इनमें उलझ जाते हैं. तो
Hmm.
अगर रिलेशनशिप में expectations are allowed, but love is one way
Hmm.
street. तो हम how do we bring
Hmm.
this together? यही तो complication है, यही तो discuss कर रहे हैं.
So bringing it together is in times of crisis, actually. I would say it is in times of crisis when there is separation and all going on. Then you have to remember that love is always unconditional. Love is one way. It's in times of crisis that you have to remember these things. That love is a one-way street. You have to give. It has to be unconditional. If you do not have any crisis going on, it's really not important. You can have
Wait,
expectations.
wait, Tina. You
Mhm.
use the word give. If you use the word you have to give love, that sentence itself makes it conditional. If giving comes,
Okay.
if receiving comes, that means there is a transaction happening now,
Okay. Okay. When I
right?
say loving
So
someone, yeah,
so it's not about
uh,
giving anything or receiving anything. So
yeah,
see,
yeah,
we
yeah.
can see this contemplation pointer as another sentence also. Love is
Mm-hmm.
unconditional,
Mm,
while
mm,
relationships are conditional. So
yeah.
keeping that true,
Mm,
love has always been, love will always be and unconditional.
mm,
ठीक है ये
mm,
this assuming this is true, and also
yeah.
assuming relationships were never unconditional,
they will never be unconditional.
Never unconditional. Yes.
Correct. Now we have to see both of these together.
But love is happening in relationships. So they intermingle there.
वही तो complication
Love is
है.
happening
That
in
is the whole point.
love is
That is
happening
the
in
whole point.
relationships. Yeah.
Of course.
So
of
in
course.
times
That
of
is what we are
crisis,
discussing.
in times
Go
of
ahead,
crisis,
go.
we need to remember. In times of crisis, we need to remember that love is unconditional, or I am in love with this person. If there is no crisis going on, you can have expectations in a normal relationship.
So crisis will actually test your love. That is what you're saying.
Sorry?
Crisis will test your love.
Yes, yes. Actually,
Why is that?
they test your love.
Why crisis is required to test your love?
So only ups and downs let us know, na? The level of our relationship, the level of love, the level of giving, the level of receiving. Only in times where testing happens, then we know. If everything is going on good, then we don't know.
Trisha, you have written a good point. So do you want to just come on unmute and say? Trisha, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes.
I joined the
Yeah.
call late, so I might have
No,
missed.
your point is what you just said is good. That is why I brought you, jump the queue for you. There are other people who have raised their hand. So I jumped the queue for you. हाँ बोलो, you written good point. वही तो you are saying कि why do we have to bring it together?
हाँ, जो
So,
आपने बोला ना कि
हाँ,
दोनों को
चलो
एक
ठीक है छोड़ देते बिकॉज मुझे लग रहा है कि यहाँ पे टर्मिनोलॉजी का इशू है. ठीक है छोड़ दो, डोंट ब्रिंग इट टुगेदर. ठीक है, डोंट ब्रिंग इट टुगेदर, बट दे गो टुगेदर. लव भी है, रिलेशनशिप भी है. सो हाउ डू यू कंसाइल दिस?
I mean, I don't know for other people, but in my head, I don't think there's a confusion. I think it's very easy that I choose to love a person, but at the same time, the relationship that we have has a certain dimension, and that person has to do their part, and I have to do my part. For me, there is no confusion in that.
इसलिए तो I asked you to come on the call. That's why I knew this is what you are going to say. So say, explain it, because that's why I asked you to come on the call. You're making a good point. So just explain it a little bit more. Like explain it in a way कि हमें नहीं समझ में आया.
Well, I'm
It's clear in
trying.
your head. It's clear in your head, but assume कि it's not clear in our head. So explain.
Well, I mean, I look at it like two lines going parallelly, right? I love a person, and they can disagree with me. They can, choose to do things.
I think this is enough. Yes, this is great. What you just said.
Okay.
Two lines going in parallel. Absolutely. These two things can go in parallel. हम कंफ्यूज कहाँ हो जाते हैं जहाँ पे हम एक को दूसरे के साथ मैच करने की कोशिश करते हैं. When we are trying to do this or that, but they both can coexist. You can love someone unconditionally, or you can love someone without expecting anything back from them or in any way. But in a relationship, there is some functional things that are involved. There are some expectations. So both are valid. Is that what you wanted to say, Trisha?
Yes. That's exactly what I wanted to say, that I actually don't feel that it's wrong to expect anything I mean, not anything, but it's wrong to expect something in a relationship. Of course, it has to be within the parameters of what that relationship is. And sometimes I guess we over expect from people, and that is also, a problem. But if done right, it shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be wrong.
The problem becomes when we start to expect people by bringing कि because I love you, now you have to do this for me. तो हम वो love को blackmail की तरह use करने लगते हैं.
Yeah.
See, we are talking about parent-child relationships. Sachin mentioned that. Okay, Sachin, I don't want to break the bubble for you, but at the same time, there are plenty of dysfunctional families in the world, right? So there are plenty of parents who are actually bringing up their kids for hidden reasons. There are plenty of them. This relationship is also not as pure as you think it is. There are plenty of parents who bring up their kids because at the end of the day they feel they will look after me in my old age, or they will do this or they will do that. Plenty of parents are doing this. So it is about that. When we also know that when the child is little, then that's fine. It's okay to not expect too much. As the child is growing up, teenager, young adult, and all that, parents start saying, "We've done so much for you. Now you behave like this. You do this like that. You're not listening to us. You're making these kind of choices. We've done so much sacrifices for you." This is such a common thing that parents do. That relationship is also not as pure as you think it is.
No. I will just add something to this. First of all, thank you, 𝗕ṛिक्शा, for bringing it up. It was wonderful. And coming to this parent-child wala love, when people think it is conditional, and whenever you see that it shows up in your relationships, that you're expecting something, then it means that expectation was there and has always been there. It just comes out when it's time for you to say it out loud or to even think about it. So you have always expected your kids to perform at school or to do something for you or whatever. It's just that you didn't say it when they were 1 month old, because it was impossible for them to perform anything when they were 1 month old. But that doesn't mean that that expectation was not there. If you see relationships at a much deeper level, any relationship, it's literally impossible for it to exist without conditions. I'm using the word impossible here, right? So if you look deeper into it, there's always a condition.
Yes, I too agree for this.
Yeah, thanks, Vikesh. Yes, Sachin wants. You wanted to say something?
We start expecting from the.
Please, Vikesh, please go ahead.
As soon as the love starts, we start expecting. We say that when the child is born, it's in condition. It is conditional. We start expecting that he should or he or she should respond to our actions. We start expecting from the day one. The day the love starts, we start expecting. We start expecting. We are expecting from the God also. We are going to the God. We are going to the temple. We are expecting Him to give something. It's not unconditional. It's just condition. मैं ये करूँगा, मैं व्रत रखूँगा, मैं ये करूँगा, ऐसे करूँगा, तब मुझे मिलेगा तो मैं करूँगा. It's all condition.
मेरा काम करोगे, then I will give you a 5 rupee coconut.
Actually, we have been expecting. We have even before planning for having a child, we have an expectation that our child will take care of us. So it's not unconditional.
Absolutely. There are plenty of, exactly. This is a myth. The parent-child relationship is unconditional love. This is such a big myth. I don't know why people still keep holding on. Maybe there is some kind of satisfaction we get out of that. But if you look around, it is not. It is not as pure as we think it is. And maybe it's not, I'm not saying that parents are manipulative and all that. It's not like that. But we talk about practical life, then look around now. It's not practical. They also have expectations. They don't accept their kids just the way it is and all that. There are plenty of parents who disown their kids for not listening to them and marrying them off without even considering. We're doing so many clarity calls and talking to people and all that. पूछता भी नहीं है कोई उनको शादी करने से पहले कि whether you are, there are women who are facing domestic violence and उनके हाथ पैर टूट जाते हैं उस domestic violence में, and still the parents are saying no, go ahead and try to make it work and all that. It's not as pure as we think it is.
Yeah, I think parents and kids relationships are the biggest transactional relationships. I mean, I've seen people who are upbringing kids with the this thing that I was the topper in the class, so I want my son to be topping in everything, and it's such a pressure. So it's like more of a trophy child for them rather than just a child, like an individual or something. But it's more of like they love the child with the conditions. So yeah, true. It's like dysfunctional families are the biggest example because everything that the child is coming, observing as a trauma in the childhood, you will be seeing all kind of things in their own relationships when they grow up. And it's all coming from what the child wanted in the relationship. Maybe parents were not at all looking out on that aspect. It's just the conditional love. It's not unconditional love. It's definitely a conditional love.
Yes. Yes. Thanks, Seema. So let's hear from other people. Sachin, Tina, Vidya.
Yep.
Yes, Sachin, go ahead.
So I'm coming back to the question what Akarma asked. What stops a person to give unconditional love? So as per my understanding, as per my experience, there are primarily three things that holds a person. One is high ego, of course, which has no place in the relationships. Second is higher expectations in return. Third is negative or wrong way of putting the things across or showing that I have done this for you. What are you doing for me? I think these are primarily three reasons which holds us back. That's one. Second, coming to the relationship of child and parent, I think there is some understanding gap what I said. I didn't use the word unconditional love. I talk about the practical life and scenarios. I said this relationship initially starts from love, and when the child grows up, the love takes one step back, and trust first comes into the picture. Yes, there are expectations. There is no doubt in this, and there is no unconditional love also, because it's someone rightly said in the group. When the time comes, the expectations are there. When one grows old, father or a mother, if one of the guy grew old, then they have expectation that the child should take care of them. But in real life, we see many cases things are not happening like that way. Yes, this is real. And third point, what Seema pointed out, that no, say if in case either of the parents says that I was a topper and I want my son or daughter to be the topper again. So this is coming from the wrong expectations of the parent from their child. That's one. Second, this is coming from the parents' own hollowness, emptiness, and their own life failures that they're trying to impose on the children in a very smart and a clever way. For example, I want you to become a doctor. Why? Because I wanted to become a doctor. Somehow मैं नहीं बन पाया, मैं नहीं बन पाई. अरे कभी आपने बच्चे से पूछा वो क्या बनना चाहता है? हो सकता है वो स्पोर्ट्स में जाना चाहे, हो सकता है वो सिंगिंग में जाना चाहे, हो सकता है वो कॉपी राइटिंग में जाना चाहे, हो सकता है वो डांस में जाना चाहे. But you wanted that guy to become a doctor. Why? Because that is all coming from your own failures of life. You cannot impose your own failures or hollowness or emptiness on your children in a very smart and clever way. Yes, I do agree. Every parent wants their children to be successful, and I highly respect this. But on top of it, we should never impose our own restrictions or our own expectations on the child to become XYZ. That's what I wanted to contribute. Nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Sachin. Yes. Who wants to go next? Tina, Vidya?
I think it's Vidya. Vidya, go ahead.
Actually, I think you can love any. Love is different from relationship. It's my perception. You can love many things and persons, but getting into relationship, you have expectations that you will feel loved, which means that one person says, I think it's fire. If you love yourself, you can love someone unconditionally. I differ from that opinion. Like, if you love yourself, you'll not be in a relationship that you will not feel loved.
Okay. Trisha, you wanted to say something? Your hand is up.
Yeah, but is there somebody else before me?
You are there.
Okay. So I've been listening to everybody talk, right? And I just had this thought. I think, I'm not saying people over here in this call, and I'm not trying to be offensive at all, but I think people in general also confuse love a lot. They think it's, like you said, Akarma, before, I do this for you, you do this for me, and we are in love. Yeah. Either it's that sort of an understanding, or it's a very esoteric understanding, right? Like, it has to be like the way a mother loves her child, or it has to be the way Mira loved Krishna or something. I don't think it's either. Love, it just is. You can love a person, you can love a thing, you can love multiple people, like somebody said in the call. There's nothing wrong about it, right? And that it doesn't have to have a very specific definition of, oh, this is pure and this is impure. Love just is. Pedophilia is wrong. Don't go love a child, but if you're an adult. But jokes apart, I think you don't have to, and we shouldn't have to, put a benchmark to it that if it's pure only if it's like this, or it's impure if it's like that. And I think that also confuses people so many times, because then I guess they start to think, why do I have expectations? Is it wrong, immoral to have expectations? No, you love. That's one track. That's one, it's like an underlying bedrock for everything that you do in life. And then you have a relationship with your employer, with your friend, with whoever. And you understand and form a nature of transaction for each of these relationships. In some relationships, you can be a healer. In some relationships, you can be a listener. In a relationship with your employer, you obviously, get paid for the work that you do for them. And there is still a give and take. There is still expectations, right? But the underlying bedrock of it is just, I love what I'm doing, or I love this person. And it doesn't have to be boxed into something. I think I personally take a lot of umbrage when somebody starts to say pure love is, mother's love or this and that. I don't necessarily agree with that. So yeah, that's what.
This is good what you have said. So yes, I agree with that point. That see, the love part that we are saying, as long as we are not using that love part to blackmail another person to say, now you have to do this for me because I've done so much and all that, this is where things get complicated. So in relationships, give and take, the distribution of chores, distribution of responsibilities, that will always be there. So this is why we say relationship is a two-way street, because that requires certain sharing of responsibilities, certain things that needs to be done. That is good. That two mature people need to take ownership of. But making the other person feel that way, realize that way. Now you have to do this because I've done so much for you. I love you. I've done so much because of that. That is where things get screwed up. So if you want to love, you love. But don't bring that in this. Don't bring that in this context. So as we mentioned, as 𝗕ឆાએ mentioned, let these two things run parallel. Don't connect them. Love, if you want to love, love. That's it. Just love and leave it there. And then have that transactions or those things that you want to do. Talk from that point of view. Talk from responsibilities and sharing things from that point of view that needs to be done. वो दुनियादारी के एंगल से बात करो वहाँ. ये करने की जरूरत. But when we start to bring this, yeah, I've done so much for you, I've given this for you and all that, that is when we start to complicate things. That is when things get fucked up. Because that is when we get trapped in that feeling of guilt and anger. That I've done so much. If you have done so much and you're so feeling guilty and angry about it, then you should not have done it so much. So doing so much for the other person needs to come from the heart, not from obligation, not from building obligation on the other person. कि मैंने कर दिया है, आप भी करो. Vidya, you want to say something?
Vidya, if you're saying something, you're on mute. We cannot hear you.
No, I was not.
Okay, your hand was up. Thanks. Yes. Thanks, 𝗕ឆાએ, for adding so much. And now, anybody else who wants to add anything to this point where we have reached till now?
If nothing, then maybe conclude the call. So nothing from our side. So far, I think we have established a point here that love and relationships are things that can keep running in parallel. We can still love another person without expecting the love back. Or, so to speak, is, as someone mentioned, the point of self-love. You want to love someone you love, whether they love you back or not. If that is the concern, then it was never love. I can only say one thing to you that, guys, if you can unlove someone, then you never love them.
There was something
there
was something I wanted to add, based on the practical perspective of how we live on this topic. So the first thing is that, like 𝗕ឆાએ was saying, you even using the words like pure, unpure, conditional, unconditional. So these words are good to explain certain things, and important because we cannot explain anything without language. But I would say that do not get messed up with these words. So it's really important, even if you don't have the capacity to love unconditionally, or you don't know what is unconditional love, your way for knowing what it is by doing what you can the best in this moment, right? So having that clarity that abhi ye wala cheez maine dekha, so this is this kind of a transaction, and this is my expectation, and this is my belief in the relationship, and this is what I can give in the relationship, and this is what I expect back in the relationship. right? So being where you are, because not trying to catch, like कि अभी I just jumped 10 steps ahead, and when you experience it, you experience that. When you don't experience it, you don't experience that. Not because one thing is right and another thing is wrong, or trying to become something. So that is the first point, not to fall for the words. Being where you are. Second thing, how do we imply these things in practical, like real life scenarios? So how they play out. For an example, like somebody has asked in these calls long back, then what if my actions hurt my partner? What if I tell them that this is wrong with you and it hurts them, or if I ask them for something and it hurts them? The point is that both of these things coexisting, where relationships are a certain way. You can set healthy boundaries. You can say things to people. You can ask them for things. You can give them things. That is done very, in an intentional fashion, in a very clear fashion. कि हाँ अभी ये है तो है. This is how it is. That this is kind of I'm using the word terms and conditions. So abhi aisa hai, having that clarity about the relationship. And that is not opposite to the first sentence. That is coming out of love. And now why is it coming out of love? Because the reason for you in the first place to not set boundaries was fear itself. That what if I set this boundary and this goes wrong and that goes wrong? And that keeps us away from healthy relationships. We become people pleasers. We do not set boundaries. We allow people to take us for granted. And we do all that not because we love them. कि हाँ अभी एक काम करो, मुझे 2 थप्पड़ लगा दो because I love you. No. Because usme there is no love, because you are not making the other person see the mirror to make them grow, to help them evolve. Then how is it love? So both of these things coexist is because you're able to do things not from these unconscious agendas, but you're able to see things in perspective holistically, that I love you. And even it can go to an extreme that I love you. This relationship is not serving us. I'm leaving this relationship because this is the best for both of us. Right? And that also can come out of love, a lot of love. Right? So it's not, when we shift to the space, when both of these things coexist and the space becomes love, then we have clarity. What do we give in the relationship? What do we take in the relationship? And the relationship is healthy. It becomes healthy in all different angles because it's not coming out of fear. But when we operate from our unconscious agendas, we think that we are loving the other person by, just allowing them to do whatever, or just, dying for them. It's not coming from the space of love. It's coming from the space of fear. Right? And that is why, if it is actually love, it will coexist. And if it is not coexisting, it is coming from the space of fear. And do not try to mix these things and reach a certain level and, try to make it unconditional, because understand that relationships are conditional. And unki conditional mein hi, the space is unconditionality. Because we live in duality. We live in this body-mind world. It's not possible for things to not be conditional. So in this space, it will always be conditional. But जब हम overall space देखते हैं, beyond the space of just mere emotions, mere body mind, mere thoughts, the space is the space of evolution, love, joy, gratitude. So it may sound very esoteric, but if you go back in your life, at least once, all of us have experienced it. Right? So That's all I wanted to add. Anything, Akarma, you want to add, or anybody else? Then we'll wrap up the call.
I just wanted to ask three people on this call, CP and Sahil, we were having this discussion and they were looking forward to join. I think Sahil dropped out, but CP is still there. So CP, did you get anything from this call today?
CP, if you're saying something, I cannot hear you. Is CP there?
Yes, I'm here, but I'm not
Okay.
trying to speak anything now. Maybe I don't know some network issues.
Okay. Cool. Anybody else wants
So
to add?
has this call made you even more confused, CP?
Um, Not confused. Few of the statements are like they are kind of very broad. It brings in a lot of perspective, like what Trisha said, ki both the statements can go hand in hand, like as parallel statements. And one thing what I was confused about at first, ki, which I did ask in the group as well, ki if we do have this concept of self-love, and that if all the love exists in ourselves, then why do we feel hurt when we love someone else and we don't get back the same amount of love? So if I come to this point, then it means that if I'm feeling this way, then it's not love, it's just mere transaction. And I need to work upon the concept of self-love. So
Great, wonderful. If you got that point, I think that's good.
yeah, so
Yeah.
that thing
So
is
that I don't, by saying that I don't mean you may have got your answer, but I think if you got that point, that is a good pointer for you to think about it now.
yes, yes,
Hmm.
so that I am clear of. So
Great.
lot
So
more work to do.
I'm glad that you got that point. Yes.
Yes, I did.
I had a feeling that you would get this point from the call. That's why I asked you to join. So if you yourself arrived at that conclusion without me telling you that, then I think that's perfect.
Yes, that I did get. I did get it, and I do think I
It will
need to
it will
work.
hurt a little bit. It will hurt a little bit, and that's okay. But sit with it now. Let it sink in. Sit with it now.
Yes, maybe that is one another area which I need to work upon, like many other things which I am working on. You-
Okay. See, the best answers, I feel, the whole point that I shared the story in the group today, and we having these calls, अगर हम सब चीज बताने लगेंगे तो कनेक्ट नहीं होती है. चीजें कब होती हैं when you realize it then yourself, and it may not give you an answer straight away. It's okay. These are in steps. So I'm okay if you didn't get your answer, but I feel glad that you got the direction. Now you know where to look, and in which way to look at it, and which way to contemplate. That is good. And when you arrive at those conclusions yourself, it's far better than we telling you yes I have that. Because you need to own these things of yourself.
Yes, definitely. I do think the same. I do think the same way as well. So this conclusion is a very big thing for me, coming to this conclusion. And इसके बाद का तो तभी कर पाएंगे when we do know the great mind would say.
हाँ हाँ. So don't feel rushed to find a way out. Just let it sink in. Let this कुछ भी मत करो. I'm saying don't do anything. Just let this statement sink in inside you. Let it take a day or 2 days. Let it just sink in. The next step will come by itself. There is no need to rush to find अब next step करना क्या, कुछ नहीं करना. बस इस स्टेटमेंट के साथ फाइट नहीं करनी है. इस स्टेटमेंट को सिंक इन होने देना. दिस थिंग दैट यू रियलाइज ये मेरे को पॉइंट क्या है. That makes sense, maybe.
हाँ, yes, it does make sense. क्योंकि मतलब if I do go into the space कि इसके बाद अब मुझे करना क्या है, तो it creates a lot of confusion.
It will create a lot of confusion क्योंकि वो पुशिंग है. अभी. हाँ हाँ.
Yes.
छोड़ दो उसको. 2-3 दिन के लिए छोड़ दो.
Yes, right. So I would just sit with it and let it come up with its own answers or solutions or whatever.
And it will come up. क्योंकि you have arrived at this yourself, it will come up.
Yes, so I wouldn't do anything. That is more I don't know, easier or maybe the correct way to achieve at a more plausible explanation for things. Maybe let's see how it turns out to be, I would say.
Yeah. Thanks, Ippi. I'm glad, with this conversation both of you had.
Yes.
Yeah. I guess Tina, you want to say something? You have raised your hand.
Ma'am, I have a question about self-love. Does everything start with self-love? Is it that if you don't love yourself, you cannot love anyone else? Is there a fixed rule to this?
Everything does not start with self-love. Everything starts with self-certainty. So it's like, that you have a cup of water. So when you pour out the cup, whatever you have in it, water will come out. If you have coffee, coffee will come out. If you have tea, tea will come out. So what you have in your cup, that will always come out. Right? So be it. Yeah, please say.
No, ma'am, you continue.
Yeah, so be it people taking it out from you or be it you yourself going and taking it out, what's there is going to come out, right? So, yeah, that's just I wanted to tell. So if you fill your cup with love would come out. If you fill it with I'm not saying that only love can exist. It has so many different things. But it's as if the world is a reflection of what you have inside. So everything starts with self, and it is because it is a reflection. It's the other way around as well. Whenever something anything would happen in your outside world, you will only respond to based on what you have in your cup. So we think that other person do things to us, but it's more like we respond with the contents of what we have inside our cup.
But I always have had a problem of self-love. I believe, I don't know, I believe that I give love to people, but self-love is not something that I practice. I do not practice it at all. And the way you are saying it right now, I have been in toxic relationships because of this. Because I haven't loved myself enough to get out of those toxic relationships.
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. So you're saying that you have a problem of self-love. So basically, you're saying that you now want to also love yourself. That is
yes,
what you
yes,
mean to
yes,
say?
yes. But I can't do it. I don't know the steps to take, how to go forward about it, because I've never done it. I've never prioritized myself.
Okay. Okay. See, I can tell you like 10 and 20s of techniques to practice self-love, but I'll
Yeah.
actually rather take the opposite way around.
Hmm.
What if I tell you that everything you think you have been doing for other people, you have actually been doing it for yourself?
For my own satisfaction.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm asking you.
No, not for my satisfaction. I have actually been a very giving person all my life, and that is why now in like I am 35 plus. So after 35 years, I've understood, and now I have so many trust issues. I do not believe in relationships at all. I do not create friendships. I do not talk to people. I've gone into a cocoon completely.
Correct. I get it. But when you were doing things for people.
No, I was not doing it for myself. I was doing it for others.
But how was it?
And it was not for my satisfaction also. Not for my satisfaction.
Can you give an example? Okay, just a moment, Tina. So, thanks to all the people who have joined us today. So now this is like a very different conversation. If you guys think you can benefit from this, you can stay here for 5-10 minutes, or if you feel you have another engagement, so feel free to leave. So thanks everyone for joining. Yes, Tina, continue.
Yeah, but basically, I want to know how to start loving yourself, because I know once I love myself, I will attract right kind of people. I'll attract right kind of relationships. Everything I'll attract. But right now, I am in that cocoon. I do not want to get out. I do not want to talk to anybody. I do not want to build relationships or friendships. I do not want to socialize. I want to do nothing.
Right. We will come back to this. But you said that when you were doing things for people.
No, I was not doing it for my satisfaction. I was doing it for others only. Yeah.
Right. So can you give an example?
Example is like if I was friends with someone. There was a time when I had got betrayal from 3-4 friends together at the same time. And so I didn't push myself out of those relationships also. I knew those people were wrong for me, yet I was friends with them. Yet I was being good. Pulling yourself out of a toxic relationship shows that you respect yourself, you keep up your self-esteem. I wasn't even doing that. I let people walk over me.
Yes. But at that point of time, when you were in those relationships, when you were doing things for people, you did not set boundaries. And, people were walking over you. They made you feel like, smart and all that. But still, then why were you doing it?
That's what I'm telling you. I do not love myself enough to set those boundaries.
No,
why
I get your
is
point.
it that,
I totally get your point. But leave what you have learned about
insecurities. Yeah. Insecurities. My own insecurities. Will I be friends with other? Yeah.
I'll be
Will
left
I be friends
alone.
with other? Yeah. Or will I get other friends? Will I be friends with other people? you know, that getting out that comfort zone, that insecurity, getting out of this comfort zone, will I find another comfort zone?
Right, right. So that was, you were doing it for self,
Yeah.
okay? Not to be alone,
Hmm.
right? But then you come to a point where you realize that it is not self-love.
Hmm.
Okay? Because you understand that even after trying that being with those kind of friends and everything, and you were doing it for yourself as well. I don't
Yeah.
want to be alone. So in that point of time, you also got people to be with you. Now, what I'm trying to say, that the same thing, right? The same thing that you did out of fear, if you can replace the word fear and put love in place of it, how would your actions change? Right? So if we replace that like drastically, just right away, because self is there, right? But now you're not operating from fear, you're operating from love. So that every action that you take, be it with people, be it without people, what would those actions be?
Okay. It would have remained the same. I would have been the same person. I wouldn't have changed because I didn't betray or I didn't do anything wrong. It was my love only that those friendships went on. Yes, why was it I in it? Because of my insecurity. But nothing would have changed. Even if they would have been good to me, I would have been the same person.
Right, right. So if they had been good to you, तो तब तो ये problem आता ही नहीं ना. Then what was the problem then?
That is what I'm telling you. I think I attract betrayals or any kind of wrong experience because I do not love myself enough to like people who I have seen people who love themselves. Okay, they don't let anyone walk over them. They do not they do not act as a doormat to anyone. They are very strict that I have to be respected and I have to be you have to be good to me. They are self-loving. They are very much how do I explain, they are like boundaries, what you said. Yeah, they have their boundaries set.
Right, right. So abhi jo ho gaya in the past, let's leave that in the past, that whatever has happened ki हाँ ये हो गया है. But right now, as you were saying कि अभी तो you have also seen people, you have observed this in people, ठीक है, you have also recognized कि हाँ पहले मुझे ये insecurity से आता था, where I was and now where I want to be. तो ये apply करने में क्यों problem आ रही है?
I don't know. That is what I'm asking. I don't know. Practicing it is a real difficult thing for me. Like prioritizing myself, I feel is very selfish. I have this notion. If I prioritize myself, I'll be very selfish. If I think about myself, I'll be very selfish. I'll look like a self-centered person.
Okay, okay. Then, okay, I get your point. So the problem that you're trying to solve is how can I actually prioritize myself too?
Yeah, without looking selfish or without looking like I'm a very self-absorbed or self-centered person.
Okay, okay. Yes, yes. I understand and I get this point because, we were taught as children कि, क्या बोलते हैं, मतलब तुम फीमेल हो तो तुम्हारा काम है, सबको
प्रायोरिटाइजिंग
प्रायोरिटाइज
अपने
करना.
बच्चे को देखो, हाँ, अपने पति को देखो, अपने घर को देखो. हाँ, if you think about yourself, if you give yourself time, then you are a self-centered person or a selfish person. You're only thinking about yourself.
हाँ, तो सबसे पहले ये चीज करने के लिए you have to sit and you have to see In fact, I would say, just jump and start prioritizing yourself. And when at the point of time where you're actually doing it and these feelings come up that you're feeling guilty, sit with that emotion. कि जो गिल्ट आप एक्चुअली फील कर रहे हो वो एक्चुअली एग्जिस्ट भी करता है.
Okay. Okay.
So dealing with this at one point of time, plus we have this journey which we created, like how to stop being taken for granted.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
take out a month or two and do that e-learning journey. So it has all of these contemplation pointers day by day, which you can go through. Because ये हमें लगता है कि we are not doing it for ourselves, but we actually because we cannot not meet our needs. So हम अपनी needs तो meet करते ही हैं, बस वो हम घूम घूम के resentful होके, and then with all that circles we meet our needs in very unconscious way. And the same opposite thing happens when you become aware, when you start loving yourself, तो आप वही needs अपनी consciously पूरी करते हो.
Yes.
Right? But उसके लिए ये जो बीच का guilt, fear and obligation है, clearing that is important.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
I'm so sorry, guys. I guess Trisha, your hand is up. You want to say something?
Oh, to Tina, and I just find it so interesting that she said she doesn't want to come across as self-absorbed and self-centered, but all the characteristics that she admires in other people, like they stand up for themselves, they have strict boundaries, they say, no, please respect me. That's being self-centered in a healthy way, but that's being self-centered.
Yes, we get attracted to people. One factor of it is, they have something which we do not have. So it's not exactly people, but the qualities which they have, which we don't have, which we find attractive.
Yeah, so she's not repulsed by it. She just doesn't know how to do it for herself, because there is that whole voice in her head saying, this is not right, and, making her feel guilty when she stands up for herself or does anything for herself. But she's not repulsed by those characteristics.
Absolutely. And that's the difference between, there are two segments in it. One is this attraction wala part, inspiration wala part. So she's driving inspiration from it, that she also wants to do that. The other part is when somebody has something which we don't have, we start hating them.
Yeah.
Why do they have it?
Jealousy.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and Tina, sending you lots of spiritual hugs, and I hope you feel better, do better soon, because I've been where you are right now, and I just felt like saying.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Trisha. Thanks, Tina. Seema, you want to add something?
Yeah, hearing Tina, I could recall my journey, because what Tina is sharing, I was also at the same place. So being there and know what is the feeling and how it feels, and it looks like some kind of an alien language that people are saying around and doing it and not able to do it. But Tina, it's good that you're very much aware, much better than where I was. Like Anamika suggested you from the e-learnings, taking for granted. What helped me more also was the attachment style, because the thing that you said that why I attract such people and all, so that used to be like too much in my mind, because it was getting like a repetitive pattern in not only friendships, relationships, but everything around my world. So when I started practicing this attachment style, I could understand where it is coming from, whereby it started healing, and I'm still doing it. So it will be very helpful for you also, I guess. That's what I just wanted to add. Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks, Seema, for adding that
Yes, Tina, I also feel it would be relevant for you.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.